Hi, this is Maida Herschel, and myself and Alex Dixon worked on an app through FreeCodeCamp, and we had a great experience. It's been a year ago now, and we both have jobs, but we were asked to kind of show the app, and Alex was busy, but I'm happy to do that. So this is what the app looks like from the front end, which is, it's as you can see, it's in Spanish. We wrote it in English, and then it was translated a month or so before we deployed, so we could get the kinks out. So this is an app for folks in Central and South America to find pets that they want to adopt. So you can choose the country that you're in, the city, whether a dog or cat, and then you can search for that pet. You can say, oh, there's a pet in Guatemala, and this is what I want, and then I can look at it and say it's activo, means that it's available to adopt. Pendiente is that it's pending adoption, meaning someone is, thinking about adopting this adorable little animal. And there's one that's closed, which you actually wouldn't see here because we've filtered for just active or pending. And then if you wanted to see more about the pet, you would click on the face. You could see a big picture of the pet, and then this is a sort of a description of the pet, the name and the principal main breed, the color, the size, and then a story of the cat. Now this is written in English because that was something we wrote in, but of course it would be written in Spanish by the adoption agencies and nonprofits. And then if you decided, oh, I'd really like to learn more about that pet or get in touch, then I could say email the organization, and you could send an email to the organization and get in touch and adopt the pet. So once you've made the decision to look at a pet, really the website, you're done at the website level. You're not going to interact directly with the organization. So that's the main way it works. I thought it might be interesting, since the audience here are other coders in FreeCodeCamp, that we use GitHub, and we both worked in it. And I think if we look at the pulse, you can sort of get a feel for, I guess it's maybe the graphs, that we started in April. We were basically done in, I don't know why it says May there, but I think I worked a little bit longer on it because Alex got a job sooner than I did, but we both did get jobs. But that's what we were working on. And then we did Alex found this really great starter GitHub repository, and it had what we needed in terms of, we needed both a way to have logins for the adoption agencies as well as a public side. So that was kind of a little bit more complicated. So we use this as a starter system. So we use the Agua is the Happy framework, MongoDB, and Node Mailer for the email transport. You just saw an example of that emailing that you would be doing, among other emails that were sent. The front end was React. We use Flux. And that's about it. Gulp for the asset pipeline. So that was that in. And then we deployed it on Heroku. And that, again, I thought was pretty seamless. Not that we didn't have some issues. Of course we had issues. But anyway, it just grabs the GitHub repository, and you update the GitHub, and then it redeploys it. So anyway, that's the back end kind of stuff. And this is the site then from the public point of view, where they choose, like you could leave it all open, and then you could say, well, actually, I want Guatemala, but I don't want Antigua. I want another. Maybe I want Guatemala itself. Okay, the dog has got a t-shirt. Anyway, maybe there is not a pet near El Salvador. And this was sort of a fun thing that we implemented using Mongo. Part of Mongo allows you to do a geolocator. So we could say, look 10 kilometers away from the location that they're choosing in El Salvador. In this city, let's say we got the geo locations, longitude, latitude for each city in all of these countries. And so then Mongo allows you to, a function part of Mongo is to search in different sort of, cascading out diameters until you find a pet. And then if eventually you never find a pet in that area, you say, well, we're sorry, maybe you should change some of your parameters because there's nothing within that area. So maybe just give us everything in El Salvador. Well, in this case, maybe there's nothing in El Salvador, but that's the idea, that you could look for things closest to your point of interest and then kind of go out from there. And that was sort of a interesting thing that MongoDB offered. So that's the back end of that's the public front end, from the public side. And then from the adoption side, but let's say you're an adoption agency in one of the parts of Central or South America. You could go to your home page, but let's say you haven't, you would register for the first time. So that's what this is. And this is where the client said, well, here's what you need to have. You need these 3 things. It's a 3-step process, what's going to happen, and then keep going. Well, you have to agree to these rules of engagement, which are basically, that you're a legitimate nonprofit, you're trying to weed out the scam artists. And then finally, if you want to join, then you have to fill out this form, giving yourself a username and a password, giving us information about yourself, your telephone, and who your veterinarians are, and your mission, and you have to post pictures, and then you register, and then you then get, the next screen says you've registered and we'll contact you when you're ready. So that then goes to the owner of the site, and we can just go ahead and register. I know that is called root, and that would be the owner's at this point. Of course, that can be changed, but the owner can then say, well, these are all active. Let's say this would be a potential shelter. This is the shelter page, the backend shelter page, and I could look at that and say, call them. There isn't data here, but you would call them and say, yes, it's good. Okay, if I then do approve it, here is where you say, okay, now you are going to be able to approve that shelter, and now that shelter could log in. So this is the back end of so for the user of the client in this case, his name was Walter, and he's asked us to build this for him. He's going to then get everyone that applies as a shelter through the application process we just went through in the orange colors. You'd end up here. Walter would get an email that person had just applied. As soon as they get a confirmation email, the applying shelter does. Walter gets an email, and then it ends up here, and then Walter can contact them. Often they'll have phone conversations about different credentials or what it takes, or sort of the details of management of the shelter, of the website and the shelter, and then they'll be approved. So that is the from the point of view of the third really facing, which is the owner of this site. His name was Walter, so that he can approve and not approve the shelters to post. So then once a shelter has posted and is successfully in, and I know that I have one here that's set up for New Mexico shelter. I live in New Mexico, so now this is my shelter page, and I can edit any information about my shelter right here. I can add pets here, so the dogs have slightly different variables than the cats. For instance, I don't know, like the hair is different or something. I don't know. We had all these issues about what variables you want to create around our pets, and you have to put a picture in. And then here are look at and edit your pets. This is from the point of view of the shelter. So those are right now, this New Mexico shelter has 2 pets, and if I wanted to say, well, I want to edit it, I want to add pictures, I want to change it, you would do it here. And that's the same thing here. You could edit it here. So that's the shelter view. So this is from I Am the Shelter. This is the home page of the shelter. And again, I can configure it here. I can add them here, add more pets here, and then I can edit those pets there. And then I would end that session. And then, looks like it's waiting, but that's the basic 3 views. The public view here, when I want to look for the pets that are in my neighborhood and that I find appealing and adorable. The view of the shelter, and then the view of the client, or basically owner of this site. These are views. Again, this is actually from the public side. This is why should you adopt a pet, and the client will eventually fill that out. And here's the process for adoption. Again, these are basically blank pages at this point. And then these are the shelters that you can, sign up for or look at your information. So I hope that was clear. It's clear in my mind, but then I spent a lot of time in it, so I don't know if it's clear to the viewer. This is who are we? That's the kind of about us page, in our lingo. So anyway, that's basically our website. We just used we found a stock photo here to make it hopefully appealing and show how wonderful it is to adopt a pet. It was a great experience working with Alex and freeCodeCamp, and I urge anyone who's interested to do it. So thanks a lot, guys, and yeah, happy Mother's Day.